Okay, so I want you to take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, Chibits, because there is no official source yet. But it is spreading around on the community, and I was messaged a couple times on Twitter and YouTube today, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to talk about it first things first with this, Fairy Tail episode review. So apparently what's going on right now is that next week's episode of Fairy Tail, the next episode of the anime, is going to be the final episode of the anime of Fairy Tail 2014 series, since the return. Next week is going to be the final episode, which, like I said, there's no official announcement, but apparently where everybody is getting this information from is from the cover page of the upcoming manga chapter. For instance, a manga chapter that is about to, be released, and that's where everybody's getting their information on. Like, the cover of the manga chapter says, like, the anime is ending next week, and it will start back up eventually, but at this time, they just do not want to continue airing it. They're just putting it on a hiatus, kind of what Gintama is doing. So overall, I just gotta ask, like, how's everybody's thoughts on this? Because if it really does end next week, that means that there's not going to be any more weekly Fairy Tail episodes. That means it's done. For Friday, we won't have an episode, Fairy Tail episode. Like, it won't come out every Friday, which is rather sad, but I mean, at the same time, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, there is content to adapt. There is quite the bit of content still to adapt, but I don't believe there is a lot of content to adapt that could last for over 50 episodes. And, I mean, judging by how Fairy Tail is, I believe that it would be perfect time at this time to probably just stop the anime and then come back at a later date, maybe a year or two, because right now, what's going on currently in Fairy Tail is a rather big arc. It's a very big arc. It's a very big arc to arc, and it's just continuing the main plot line. I'm not going to spoil you anime-onlys, but at this time, with, getting the time skip and then Natsu seeing Lucy, most likely next week's episode is going to focus on why Fairy Tail disbanded, and also what's to be expected once Fairy Tail returns, and I feel like it is a perfect stopping point for the series and get us all hyped up for the next series, Fairy Tail Series 3 or Fairy Tail 2017, Fairy Tail, 2018, whatever year it comes back. It feels like the perfect time. I feel like this is the best time for Fairy Tail to go on a brief hiatus, and so yeah. Anyways, getting off of that, let's talk about this episode. So this episode, it's a time skip. We get 1 year into the future. We get to see that 1 year has passed since the events of the Tartarus arc, and the main focus of this episode is Lucy. Lucy, we get to see her viewpoint, her narrating throughout this entire episode, and along with her explaining her situation, what she's been doing since Fairy Tail has been disbanded, or there's no more Fairy Tail Guild. And it's a rather sad situation, because when you think about Fairy Tail, you think about the guild, you think about all the characters in this guild, and it's gone. It's completely gone. Fairy Tail is gone. It no longer exists. Even though Lucy still has the guild mark, it's gone. And it's rather sad to see how everybody that was in this guild that considered each other family has now split up and went their own path. I mean, we even get a segment in this episode to where Lucy goes out of her way to investigate where everybody is, and she has it all over her wall with different newspaper clippings and stuff of showing where everybody's last known whereabouts are, and it just goes to show you how much Lucy cares about the past and how much she wants to relive those Fairy Tail days, and it's sad. It really is. Now, we don't really get the reason in this episode why Fairy Tail kind of broke apart. We don't have that reason, which I feel like next week's episode is going to kind of dive into a little bit, and then we're going to go on a hiatus if it does happen, which I said, take it with a grain of salt. And now, besides that too, there is a lot of fan service in this episode, and Fairy Tail and fan service, that's like something that's like, peanut butter and jelly. It goes together, and that's what you have to expect when it comes to this series. So, fan service for the most part, when it came to Lucy's fan service, I expected it, and it felt like there was a lot more emphasis on the fan service, if you get my point, in this episode than there was even in the manga. I mean, the beginning part of this episode, oh my god, them Lucy up-close personal shots with the lipstick, to the hair, to the bath scene, just everything. I'm like, holy shit, the fan service and emphasis on Lucy. Damn! And then, once we got past that, the ending part of the episode, Lucy's clothes just completely get melted off thanks to Natsu, which I'll get into that in a second. Now, the fan service aside, it was a very good episode to show what Lucy would do if Fairy Tail was gone. For instance, it's just an interesting outlook. I mean, if Fairy Tail was not there, what would Lucy do? And apparently she would become a writer, she would, join the Weekly Source or become an editor, and it was rather interesting experience, completely different from what we have actually normally seen from Fairy Tail, and it was very pleasant to watch. I have actually no issue with this episode. Some might complain, but I actually enjoyed this episode, seeing something rather different from the normal antics of Fairy Tail. Now, the Natsu stuff at the end of the episode. Natsu and his long hair, his character design. Beast as fuck. I love the character design. I love the character design. When I first saw it in the manga, I was fucking fangasming. I loved the fucking design. The design with Natsu with long hair looks fucking badass. And seeing that in the anime, I was like, fuck yeah, that looks epic. Now, I will say that when it comes to the power of Natsu, incredibly strong. He was melting the stadium and everybody's clothes off. And now, the clothes melting off was obviously for comedic effect and along with, fan service. So let's actually look at, the real things that Natsu did with his power. He was melting the damn stadium. That's pretty fucking hot. He was melting the damn stadium. Holy shit. The heat he's generating off his body is ridiculous to be able to melt the entire stadium at that distance. So it shows you how his power has increased compared to how it was in the past. So we know a lot has happened. 1 year could, be a lot. A lot of shit can happen in 1 year. A lot of training. A time skip usually means power-ups. So what exactly has Natsu improved since the time? Well, obviously his heat and flames, but I mean, what exactly has he done to improve? We'll have to see in the next couple episodes if there is more episodes, but most likely, if the word is true, next week is the final episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.